I got a message on Facebook from someone who worked with NBC. And they were like, hey. And immediately I thought, oh man, my band's about to break big right now.
Sorry.
But nah, they just wanted info on one of the dancers because they were dating Edward Snowden. Right? That's crazy. Turns out that dude was at the show. So it's good to be back on the burlesque stage. You guys ever been black? Really? I only ask him because I've been doing it for like 2 years now, and I'm still trying to network. Shit's weird. I'm still trying to get used to it. It's like every day you wake up, like you would just try to wake up and be a regular person, you know, not trying to think about what you look like. Like, yo, here's a life, and I gotta go out there and live it. But sometimes, like when you're black, you can't forget that shit. I did once, my mistake. I was in a conversation with my friends. They were all white. And they're talking about crackers, like Ritz and Triscuits and stuff. And me forgetting I'm black, like, hey, you guys know Jesus was a cracker? And they're all like, what? And then I explained what communion was. And I'm not even religious. But I was forced into the position. So like I said, I'm from Hawaii. I moved out to the DMV area like a little over a year ago. And I moved to a small town called Lorton, Virginia. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but you are? Yeah, it's a weird place. It's a small community where everyone seems like they're being held there against their will. Which is ironic because the only notable fact is that DC decided to build its prison in that neighborhood. And that prison closed down because Lorton, Virginia is too shitty of a town to keep a prison. And I ran into all sorts of weird characters being out there. Like this dude was like, what? You're from Hawaii? I was like, yeah, man. And he's like, you must be lost. Let me help you get home. First thing you're going to do is take the 372 bus down to the Lorton VRE. Then you're going to catch that down to Richmond, Virginia. If you can, get off that, catch an Amtrak one way to LA, get off that train, hop on the Blue Line down to Long Beach, get off there, hop on a bus over the bridge to San Pedro, get to the harbor. There you will see two boats, one that says Timmy, one that says Jimmy. You're going to want to get on Timmy's boat because Jimmy is a motherfucker. That dude's conniving and he writes his J's to look like T's. He's just out there to rip you off, dog. So if you make the mistake of getting on Jimmy's boat, here's a dagger, stab him in the skull. And it hit me at that moment that this dude had no idea how airplanes work or how I got to Virginia. I was working retail out there, and that was also a weird experience because I'd like ring people up in Virginia. Like their total would come out to 1913, and they say some weird shit like, "Ah, it's a good old time." I'm like, wait, for who, dog? That's a weird thing to say. It's like when people are like really into like Janis Joplin, like I was born in the wrong era. I wish I was born in like the 40s so I could have been in my 20s during Janis Joplin. Don't you wish you were born in the 40s? Like, nah, I'm good. That's not a good year for me. Straight on that. You guys into Christmas much? I agree with the groaners. I think shit's played out. We ought to get Saint Nick out of the sleigh. He's done. His job is done. He's an old man. Let him sleep. You know? I think we ought to give that job to someone who needs it, like my boy DMX. Hear me out. Simple transition. We'll just call it DMX-Miss. Barely any work. We'll get rid of Santa Claus coming to town and just start singing S Gonna Give It To You. The presents and the gifts. The mall Santas all over the U.S. will be barking at children. It's a win-win situation for everyone. Oh, indeed. Anyone here like doing drugs? I like doing drugs too, but only hippie drugs, like mushrooms and weed and acid and stuff. I don't really fuck with any of that other things. It's weird, I don't trust it. But one time I was getting off work and my buddy's like, hey, I just picked up a bunch of mushrooms, you should come over. And I was like, oh cool, I love mushrooms, I'm gonna do that. And then I got over to his house and he's like, hey man, I'm sorry, I ate all the mushrooms. There wasn't enough for two, but you're more than welcome to hang out. That brought me back to being in the second grade. And dude was like, I got a PlayStation, man, you should come over. And you get there, it's like, I got one controller. But you're more than welcome to hang out. So I got real upset and I started messing with my friend. I recognized the symptoms of peaking. And he was doing it. So I decided to get weird with him, and I knocked on the wall. And he's like, oh shit, what's that? And I was like, I don't know, man, I'm gonna go check it out. And I walked away. And then I turned back to him and was like, oh, it's the cops. Oh, this is really illegal what you're doing, but don't worry, I'm gonna handle it. Just wait here. And then I walked outside and left. That's a real shit move. Both our parts, I guess. It's breaking even. You guys are real cool. I listen to NPR when I go to bed. That way when I wake up in the morning, I'm woke as fuck. I have a fear of water, which I know doesn't surprise a lot of people. But it's a very valid fear. When I was like 2 years old, I was in swimming lessons and a lifeguard just threw me in the deep end and I freaked out. And to this day, I don't like getting water on my face because I think it'll kill me. But I mean, there's a lot, like I'm from Hawaii, I was surrounded by the biggest ocean in the world. And I get a lot of stupid questions. Like, you're scared of water? What? You're in an island. What are you gonna do if there's a tsunami that comes? You're scared of water. I'm like, I'm gonna do the same thing as everyone else and probably die. Because even if you're Michael Phelps, you don't swim out of a tsunami. It's true. You guys like hip hop?
Woo!
Cool. I love hip hop. And my favorite thing about hip hop, to be honest, aside from the lyrics and the beats, third favorite thing about hip hop is the beefs. The beefs people get in deep. Yeah, he had one. He had a beef. Beefs are the coolest thing to me. Big Sean put out a song a little while ago called Control, and Kendrick Lamar did a verse on it, which was over half the song, and in that verse, he called out a bunch of rappers, including Big Sean, and said, you guys suck, you got no talent, step up your game. And my favorite hot-headed rapper, Meek Mill, heard that song and put out a rebuttal track called Ooh Kill 'Em, in which he called out Kendrick by saying, I heard your gun goes blue, 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 or my gun goes black, 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 black. And all I could think was like, who's the yes man in Meek Mill's crew? It's like, yo, dog, keep that shit right there. And that'll show Kendrick. We come out to Philly, you don't bloop bloop. We blap blap out here. And I like to believe that beef and music didn't start in hip hop. That stuff was like, you could trace it back to Vienna, Austria hundreds of years ago when Bach just passed away and the symphony game was hot. And then you had like people walking around the streets like, yo dog, Beethoven is like the new Bach of this Mozart, or this fucking symphony shit. And then Mozart caught wind of that and be like, fuck Beethoven. That dude doesn't even write his own symphonies, he's deaf. How's he gonna write symphonies if he can't hear shit? That dude has a ghostwriter. So streets gonna start talking. Beethoven's people got back to him like, yo Beethoven, you hear about this? Mozart's saying you don't write your own symphonies, that you got a ghostwriter. You hear about this? Beethoven's like, nah man, I'm deaf. I ain't heard none of that, but I got this thing, let me know if it sounds good. And he put out Moonlight Sonata and the streets went wild. And then the people got back to Mozart and they're like, yo, Mozart, you heard Moonlight Sonata? You just got bodied by a deaf dude. Mozart's like, fuck him, Wolfgang. And he dropped Symphony 40. And the streets like, shit. Beethoven people got back to him like, Beethoven, you heard Symphony 40, dog? He's like, nah, I'm still deaf, man. But I got this shit, let me know if it sounds good. And he put out the 5th fucking symphony, which was the hardest shit to ever hit the streets. Trap music wouldn't be around if it weren't for the 5th symphony. And the Vienna Sausage like recognized that beef and they never let us forget about it. So if anyone here is gonna leak some government fucking files and you know everyone's gonna be a whistleblower in here, just don't forget to give me a shout out. My name's Kevin City. Thank you for your time.